Hey everybody, welcome to the Tesla Life, episode 13 for, what is it, July 5th, 2017. It's the day after American Independence Day, the week after we celebrated Canada Day. It's just been a holiday-packed summer already.
Yay.
And needless to say, my name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this evening, and of course I have with me my most trusted duo of Tesla Life panelists and co-hosts and co-creators, and you can call them co-anything you like. Well, no, wait. I gotta be careful with that.
Careful.
Be something respectful that starts with co.
Cohabitants, cobalt.
Let's not explore that.
Okay.
And always because I forget. At the end of the show, I want to thank Lee Moon, who composed our theme music that we use every week, and who lets us use it for free. Thank you, Lee Moon, who's also a darn fine guy and one of our regular viewers. So, thank you. Let's introduce people, and then we can start the show. Let's see. Just because he's next to me on the screen, our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, and I hope everyone is not too far hungover from the past holidays.
Is that a? Do you guys get like toasted on Canada Day?
Oh yeah, there's drinking involved, definitely.
Is there?
No.
Okay. Seems like a fine Canadian tradition, you know. I mean, and certainly there's drinking on July 4th and the barbecuing of animals and all sorts of things. So
what I found strange is that you guys have a lot of stuff is open on your holiday.
It is, yeah, quite a bit.
Whereas here, everything's closed on our holiday.
It's weird that it's a national holiday and a big one, but nobody really like everything's pretty much open. Some stores have like reduced hours, but whatever. You know, I chalk it up to rampant greed. And speaking of rampant greed, here's a man that I'm hoarding very greedily, Mr. Tony Shaver.
Hey, everybody. I want to wish everyone a happy 4th. I was out celebrating, and things went well.
That was actually funny.
Yeah, that's much better than last year. Show him the other hand.
Yeah. See, this year was much better than last.
See, I was going to say show him what you lost last year, but you still have that in a jar on your desk?
I'm allowed to take it out and play with it every once in a while.
That's good.
Yeah,
someone should.
Yes.
Speaking of allowed to take it out and play with it, we're going to start off our news this week with Mr. Mark Coughlin.
We had some not surprise news, but news we've been all waiting for quite some time. It happened on Sunday evening in the late hours on Eastern time. Mr. Musk grabbed his cell phone and sent us a few tweets to let us know. And he prompted us with the following. The first indicated that the Model 3 has passed all regulatory requirements for production 2 weeks ahead of schedule, expecting to complete SN1 on Friday. Now, SN1, everyone is speculating, of course, would be serial number 1, the first car to be built on Friday. So that, of course, is just a couple days away now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is some speculation, but it's generally agreed SN1 is serial number 1. So we're expecting the first Model 3 to be produced this Friday. So that'll be interesting. Next, shortly after that, he replied again, handover party for the first 30 customers of the Model 3 on the 28th. Now, he didn't say what month, he didn't say what year, but we are going to assume this means July of this year.
Cynicism is usually my cup of tea, Mr. Coughlin. I'm surprised you dipping into that.
You must be rubbing off, Russell.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you. I am. I mean, I enjoy your silver lining kind of personality. You know?
I have to say, personally, I was a little disappointed in his second email about the 30 customers getting the Model 3s on the 28th.
30, yes.
I mean, an apostrophe does not make a plural. Everybody knows that. I expected better.
Well, shortly after this, of course, he was beaten by the grammar police. So I think his next one will be better.
When you only have 140 characters, don't throw in unnecessary apostrophes. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is that I want to know who the hell Elon Musk thinks he is. Okay, I am very glad that serial number one, we assume, or maybe SN1. I don't know. Maybe that means something. Snow one. I don't know. But let's just call it serial number one because I think that's probably a good way to look at it. It's gonna happen day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, wait. On the 6th, tomorrow, right? Today's the 5th.
No. Tomorrow,
well, he said on Friday.
Thursday.
Oh, we did say on Friday. Excuse me. I wasn't sure if it was a date or Friday, but you're right. 2 weeks on Friday. However, Elon, let me plead to you. Elon, you're gonna have a party. You're gonna roll out your exciting new car, your mainstream car, the car that certainly calls to me on my birthday, and you're not going to invite me to the party? Let me say it again. On my birthday. I'm old. I'm not going to have many more of these, Elon. Okay? I'm waiting for my invitation. I run out to the mailbox every day. I'm waiting. Okay, that's all.
You can also send us an email, Elon, and we'll get it to Russell. No problem.
Yeah, or tweet or something. I mean, it's not that hard. Was that pathetic enough, Mark?
That was groveling. Yeah,
I groveled. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like I got on my belly and said, please, in front of everyone.
So I really expected Elon to follow up this. Okay, so serial number one is going to be manufactured. There's going to be a release party for 30 by the end of the month. I really expected him to tweet out a GIF of him body slamming somebody with Bloomberg over their face.
He might do that on stage. That might be more effective in front of the Tesla masses for him to slap Bloomberg a few times across the head.
And it's not going to be some random person with a Bloomberg GIF. It's actually going to be Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to pick up, because Michael Bloomberg's small. He's only like 1.5 feet tall. Pick him up and slam him down and go, there.
Said I couldn't do it, huh?
Yeah.
He also mentioned in that same tweet that production grows exponentially, so that in August they expect to do 100 cars, and in September about 1,500. So that's quite a bit of a ramp up from the 30 that's supposed to happen in this month.
Well, now what power of?
I don't know what exponentially. It's not a random number. Does
that mean by the end of the month he's doing 1 million? I mean, that's
well. In his third tweet, he mentions, looks like we can reach 20,000 Model 3s per month in December. So 30 to 100 to 1,500 to 20,000. That's quite a jump in under half a year.
That's a lot of tired robots.
Right. They're going to unionize. You know it.
You know that they're going to strike. Anybody put through the ringer like that is going to retaliate. Certainly.
Going to have to reduce the AI technology on those robots.
And he didn't put anything about the caveat that the awakening of Skynet may slow us down. So none of that was mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that happening soon? I haven't watched.
Again, with the robots being pushed to make 20,000 by December.
Oh,
it might come sooner than later.
Yeah.
But no, fantastic news. We've got the date now. We know when the party's going to happen. Now, last week we did make a story about an insider reporting that there was going to be thousands of cars made and ready to give out. That doesn't seem to be the case from these tweets. But we don't know, but it looks like there's certainly some doubt on that insider about what they had reported earlier.
Yeah, I would find it easier to hide 30 cars than
a lot easier, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Probably just hiding at each of the exec's house. Just park them in the driveway. They're good.
I mean, Fremont's, you could just park them along the freeway or something, Like they roll up the window and you put like a T-shirt in there and they won't tow it or something. Isn't that?
I think that's the law.
And then you just tweet the location of the car. Here's your car.
Yep, come pick it up. Yep.
FedEx the key, and they go and they pick it up. It's sort of a self-delivery mechanism.
Yeah, that would be kind of neat. You get a key in the mail, and then you get a DM tweet to you that says the location.
It's like, what is it, that game, that geocaching game where like you have to find something?
That's right. Yeah. Find your car in Fremont.
Your Model 3 might be located near.
And be there by Saturday at 4 or it will be towed.
And missing wheels.
Yeah, so great news. So we're looking forward to the launch party, and hopefully Russell's invitation is on the way.
Are you trying to make me cry? I mean, is that, because I will be genuinely sad because I will be here at this desk on my birthday going, look at all the people getting there. Then I'll have some cake and I'll get over it. So, well, Mark, thank you for that. Yeah, Elon's little micro tweet storm.
Exactly, another miniature tweet storm.
So, speaking of storms, Electrek, one of our favorite news sources, and along with everybody else in the industry, reported some news today that I find fascinating in a way because, well, I'll get into that. Goldman Sachs, who you may have heard of, they're a little bit player in the financial world, and Goldman Sachs claims, that an analyst of theirs claims that Tesla stock is grossly overvalued by 50%, and that their sales have plateaued, which is interesting thing to say at the beginning of the month where they're going to start delivering their volume vehicle. But all they see is downside. In fact, let me read what David Tamburino from Goldman Sachs said today. Quote, "We remain sell rated on shares of Tesla, where we see potential for downside as the Model 3 launch curve undershoots the company's production targets, and as 2H17,
the second half of 2017.
Thank you. God, I was an art major. I'm sorry. The second half, thank you, Tony. The second half of 2017 margins likely to disappoint. This comes as demand for Tesla's established products appear to be plateauing slightly below 100K annual run rate. So the first thing that comes into my mind is, which asshole at Goldman Sachs has a short on Tesla?
Or is looking to pick up a bargain price.
Yeah, or wants to buy 500,000 shares. Yeah, cheaper. And of course, as these things do, Goldman Sachs is a huge player. At every level. The stock took a dump today, and by taking a dump, I mean it started at 346, it ended at 327. We're talking about $20, with less than 10%, but that's still a big drop.
But over 3 days, we're talking 373 to a 320 some.
Yeah, and that's really, I think, in a sense. Yeah, I wonder if Goldman wasn't just piling on. You know what I mean? Like they see the stock going down and going, okay, let's just push this shit a little bit further.
Well, right, and of course, I know you read the article all the way through, even to the last paragraph, which made me laugh my ass off. The last paragraph, Tamburino is one of the lowest rated analysts on Wall Street, ranked 4,407 out of 4,592 analysts on tip ranks, with a success rate of 41% and an average return of negative 23%.
So someone you shouldn't necessarily be taking stock tips from.
He's the one that drove the stock down. How is that? I mean, there was a time when you evaluated the news and the reporter. No, apparently not.
Apparently that time has passed.
Right.
And it's interesting. I'm I hate to say this because the almost, that's the go-to criticism when anytime somebody comes on and critiques Tesla is, well, they've got stock, they're shorting Tesla, they're going to make money on it. But I mean, honestly, here's a guy who's at best described as a loser, but works for one of the most influential financial companies on the planet. And, so, I mean, we're talking about like the worst person at one of the biggest companies and comes up with this and boom, can sink Tesla stock 10% in one day. That's pretty horrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And it's something that, to be honest, like we have heard these stories before. Last month, there was talk about why was the supercharging coming back free of charge. The thought was they're trying to increase sales. This last quarter, the last financial reporting, Tesla did confirm they had delivery of about 22,000 vehicles during the second quarter, which reached their lower end delivery goal of 47,000 to 50,000 vehicles for the first half of the year. So they just met their goal. But there's been times previous where they haven't quite met the goal. Stock didn't take a tumble of 10%. This is something that has happened in the last few days here, but Russell's thought of piling on certainly does come to mind.
But I'm gonna take the other approach to say, at this point, it seems, Tesla is not just a car company, almost anymore. You look at, they have cars, they have spaceships, they have solar panels, they have a boring machine. They have the power wall. They've diversified. It's not just how many cars can they sell. Now it's cars plus battery packs plus solar panels plus, these missions to space. There's much more to Tesla now than just how many cars can you deliver. Maybe that's where Tamburino is a little short-sighted in how he's looking at Tesla as a company.
Or maybe he's just, dare I say it, an asshole?
And minus 23%, I would not follow his advice.
Yeah. But we see these kind of things in the stock market all the time. One person coughs up something that may or may not be significant, and a whole big herd of people run right over the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like the lemming effect. One guy jumps and the rest follow.
Yeah, and what did this guy lose? I mean, he already, again, with these ratings and with his ranking, obviously isn't super respected in the business, but nonetheless, everybody was like, oh, well, I'm right there, the other side of it is, and one could make the argument that honestly, if somebody like this can say something like that and help kick the stock further down, maybe that highlights the weak structure that Tesla has in place for its valuation.
Well, I do want to share this picture. So this is from like 2016 up to current. And you can see hold, sell, goes conspicuously up and to the right. So they're telling people to sell as the stock goes up.
Seems kind of self-serving, doesn't it?
I know that's kind of how you achieve a minus 23 average return, I think, right there. Because their first sell was at what looks like 250. Their last sell is what looks like 375. Okay, what?
It's like being a local weather person. You don't have to be right. No one tracks your accuracy. If you look good in the jacket, you get the gig.
Exactly. Yep.
So I've railed about the financial press for years on shows like this when they start talking about stuff, because so often they get to be just grossly wrong, and the next day it's like, okay, it's all good.
Yeah, forgot about it.
Well, let's talk about something fun. Mark has the next story, and I'll turn.
Well, another article in recently about Tesla upgrading its electric motor as time moves along and its powertrains. Elon had mentioned at one point, disclosing that Tesla has the ambitious goal to making Tesla's powertrains last for 1 million miles. So virtually, I don't know who's driving 1 million miles, but I certainly am not. But that would mean that the parts would virtually never wear out. And to that goal, Tesla has been updating the powertrain as time has gone along with software updates. And now we get word that they're starting to introduce some physical updates to the machinery as well. So recently, an article that was just penned just recently, and I'll just put it up on the screen here, that they've been toying with the electric motor on road to that 1 million mile mark that they've put out there. And they indicated that that they have been putting in these performance enhancements to the S and the X motors and powertrain. And they're not necessarily getting into the details of what these improvements are beyond, stating that they're both software and hardware upgrades. But as Tesla has spoken in the past, they will continually upgrade the parts to make the cars better over time and are unapologetic about when they put them in play. So some people do get upset that they've got a enhancement or missed an enhancement by a development cycle that is not necessarily linked to the year of the car, because during the manufacture of the car, if Tesla does find that a new motor or a new drivetrain or a new piece of software is giving them what they want, they will incorporate it immediately, unlike a traditional car manufacturer who may wait for a model year to come up. So they are now pushing this stuff into these cars as they come available. And the latest was this high efficiency electric drive unit. There's also speculation that some of this is to continue to make that difference between a Model S and X and the new upcoming Model 3. There is talk about having that. If the same motor is in the car, they could certainly use software to dial one back or push one forward, but there is talk now that there may be a completely different unit that's used as the electric drivetrain for each of the cars. And it could be more towards that, making a differential between the two types and price brackets of these cars. But interesting to see that this development continues along, and it's good to see that this stuff is going on. Who would not want to buy a car that has reliability into the 1 million mile mark? That's just incredible. That allows your car to be sold once you're no longer want it to somebody else, and they have that satisfaction of knowing that the car is going to last however long they're going to own it as well. So gives you a higher resale value, makes the car more reliable. Everyone's happy. So interesting. We'll put a link to it in the show if you would like to watch the video or walk through it. I would suggest doing that.
Absolutely, yeah. I ran the video a bit while you were talking, Mark. Just so you know, the video is really cool. Shows them wrapping coils for the end for the motor and all that. And it is interesting that they've not only have they made the powertrain longer lasting and more powerful, but they've incorporated other components into the single sort of drivetrain component. What the inverters in there, the drive motor, and there's 3 things. Yeah,
well, I thought they just said that there were 3 different motors.
Gearbox, excuse me.
Yeah, the gearbox. Okay.
The gearbox, of course, that makes sense. So yeah, the motor, the power inverter, and the gearbox, all in that one thing.
So, yeah, exactly.
So here's something that occurred to me. Sorry, Russell, to cut you off.
No, go ahead, please.
So Tesla publicly and made all their patents available. Is this something you think?
Well, that
could
was
also-
at that time. I don't know if that is a continuing trend.
Okay. Okay.
That's a good question though, Tony. I don't think that's been asked. Is that if upcoming patents are applied for, will those become part of the public domain as well? That would be interesting to know.
Right. Yeah. I guess at some point, as much as I like open domain and shared information, at some point you do have to maintain some level of corporate advantage, intellectual knowledge.
You would think so. To keep competitors at bay, which of course we're hearing on this show and our other What Drives Us show, that the competitors are starting to come. There's more and more that are appearing on the horizon, and more are talking dates that are much closer. So,
Okay. Well, Tony, that's very cool, actually. So Tony just posted in our little chat that he has a SpaceX launch in 3.5 minutes, and we can share it on the show.
Yeah. And again, of course, we owe so much to Lee. Lee was the one that tipped me off in the chat on the show. So it's in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So let me do a screen share here.
And I believe this one was the one that got delayed from the weekend or Sunday. And it got down to a 10-second count, and they had to stop it. So this is the push forward for that one.
I'm waiting. Oh wait, where did Tony go?
He's on the ship.
He's gone. He's there. He's gone. All of a sudden, it's like, Tony, come back. Okay, Tony's back. I was like,
all right, I'm back.
Hi, did you crash your computer?
No.
I mean, of course you did.
I thought you boarded the ship.
They've taken Tony.
Yeah,
Tony, it's a cookbook.
I have a magic mouse, and occasionally I inadvertently swipe left or right. And in this case, I swiped left to right, which is back, and it kicked me out of the. I do that.
There we go. We're like a minute and a half to.
So, and I don't remember offhand, to be honest. That's full screen. If I go full screen, what does that do to you guys?
We get an indication to click to exit full screen.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just trying to make it bigger if I can. I don't think I can. That's as good as it's going to get.
All right. That's not bad.
Yeah. How long do you guys know how long a full mission lasts?
It would last into the definitely into the hours or days. It could.
Well,
What's that?
No, I mean from when the rocket goes up to when it lands.
Oh well,
That's only
today they're not retrieving the first stage. The first stage will not land today. It will be just dropped into the ocean. They needed all the fuel they could have to get this heavy payload into space.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So this particular one, this Falcon launch is not retrieving the first stage. It's expendable in this case.
We have ignition.
What a pretty sky.
Yeah.
Do we know where this is launching from?
Yeah, right over your house, Russell.
Is it at Canaveral?
Yep.
I mean, it is on the other side of the
window and see that baby go.
You thought it was just somebody at 4th of July.
Yeah, no, if it weren't for the impending thunderstorm, which is about to hit at any second here, I probably would be able to see something when it gets high enough. But
look at that baby go.
Go.
So, yeah, so we can monitor it down here on the bottom. We can see that it's going up. We have startup.
Interesting how they
640, 60, 70 miles. Wow, that's going.
Not miles, it's kilometers.
Is that faster than a Model X?
Are those Canadian technicians working on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's 5 kilometers high? I don't even know what that means. Is that like 6 feet? Oh, this is horrible.
Apparently, everything in space is metric.
Yeah, of course it is, right? Oh man,
you guys are gonna really have to get on the ball one of these days.
Don't even.
Oh, I know.
I could. Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on what they call max Q. Currently experiencing max Q, or maximum dynamic pressure, the point where the largest amount of aerodynamic stress is exerted to the vehicle. I just knew that off the top of my head.
Yeah, or in the subnotes, one or the other.
Wow, it's going horizontal. Wait.
No!
Yes, that's fine, folks. I'm just being silly. It's up high enough. Look, it's still climbing altitude-wise. That
They went ludicrous.
3.26 kilometers, 27, 28, just keeps going.
Yep. Yep.
All right, well, looks like that's going to be successful. I don't know if we want to follow it for the
probably. Yeah, probably not. We I think we let's say we should have main engine shut off soon. Doesn't give a time estimate.
Probably got a minute left before the first stage ejects.
Yeah. It certainly looks like it's
What's really cool though is when they show this and they have cameras everywhere. So they're able, like, they'll switch to a view and there's the rocket in suborbit, and there it is, detached. There it is. Here's the picture.
Yeah, there it is. It's like the rocket
detaching. There's a camera everywhere.
Right.
So the first stage has been detached. Second stage lights up. And it continues on its way. I like how that engine heats up to a nice orange.
Yeah. Wow.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Great stuff.
100 kilometers above the Earth already.
Have to agree with Corinne Coteau, who says Elon is the man.
Wait, how did that thing get high so quick?
It's a lot of pot.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. Sorry, I had to run outside and unplug my plugin that I'm reviewing this week because it's about to have a horrible thunderstorm here, and I just, I'm a little weird about that.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
It actually in the Prius Prime plugin, it says not to leave it plugged in during a lightning storm. So it's probably a good idea.
Yeah. I guess I'm probably more afraid of the lightning than the rain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more.
They test them with a water hose. I mean, literally.
There's no problem. Snow, water, doesn't matter. It'll charge and not electrocute you.
And let's keep in mind, on Monday, my modem literally blew up because of a close lightning strike. I was telling Mark before the show. So, Florida's it's a happening place electrically. You have to kind of, watch that. So.
Yeah.
Tony and Lee, thanks very much for letting us know. And Tony, thanks for grabbing that. That's amazingly cool. Sure. That's amazingly cool. Well, let's head back to the news. We already talked about the Model 3 being built and all of that. I guess we should go to an article in again, and forgive me, folks, because
Tesla's first.
I'm not. Oh, thank you. I love it when you
love when
plays audio for me.
When page fires up some audio, it's great.
Yes.
Barron's, a fine financial publication that always gets things right, did have sort of an interesting story, only because it was something that I hadn't really thought about per se. But they were saying that Tesla's having a tough time in China, and their analyst, or excuse me, a Morgan Stanley analyst named Adam Jonas, thinks that Tesla may run into issues in China. So if part of your stock valuation, part of your stock buying strategy is that Tesla is going to be big in China, you might want to revisit that. And I don't, I kind of, at one point, I think it's just nitpicky kind of bullshit. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I am allowed to say that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think it's a fair point. You can't assume that just because they're there, that it's all going to go great and they're going to sell 1 billion things. And, I think that's a reasonable point to bring up. China's a difficult market. On top of being a big market, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, they tend to change rules a lot.
It can, I hate to say arbitrary because that makes it seem as though the U.S. market isn't. You know what I mean? Like,
right, but I will say, and we've talked about this before with manufacturers wanting to sell cars in China. The Chinese government makes rules. One of them is if you're going to sell a car in this company or almost any product in this company, you're going to or in this country, you're going to manufacture it in this country. And one of the differences that China has against countries like the United States, for example, is they make a rule, and if you don't play by the rules, they say, "Oh, okay, fuck you, get out."
Right.
They actually stand by the rules they put in place. And if China tells Tesla, you are not going to have unfettered access to data to our citizens, then Tesla's going to have to make some concessions. And if the concession is they partner with the Chinese government in accessing citizen data, then that's what they're going to have to do. But I honestly believe that Tesla is not going to walk away from the Chinese market. They'll make concessions.
It's going to be interesting to see because this has been an issue that they've stood very strong on in the U.S., that data is theirs, that it's proprietary data, that it doesn't belong to the consumer or a regulatory agency. And China's not good with sharing. They want, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They want, and they're not like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll. So it'll be interesting to see who bends here and when.
Yeah, it'll be. It's. I don't think that China is going to bend.
They don't have a big history of that.
Yeah, they don't. Like you said, they're not all that fond of sharing. So, and in fact, I believe it was just announced that. China's the number of cars that have to be EV is starting to go in place, and I believe the first mark is like 8%. That they're going to require the manufacturers have 8% of electric vehicles in play for certainly not 2017, but 2018. So that's a big number to be starting with as a mandatory number, which they don't have a mandatory number rate today. But that is a huge number to have in play, and that requires that those manufacturers make these cars, and they're on the hook to sell them. They have to sell them. So that will mean that they have to make sure the infrastructure is in place. They have to make sure the cars work properly in the regions that they're selling it, and they have to sell those cars. So it's going to be a tough market to be a part of. A huge market, but it is tough, definitely.
Right. The Chinese, in a sense, are very, very astute. I mean, if you want access to the biggest market on the planet, you've got to play by their rules. They're not like, oh, we want you no matter what. They're tough, and
right.
Maybe I wish we were that tough.
Yeah, well, it's one of the main rules is you don't wage a land war in Asia.
Is that one of the rules?
I love that. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie and a great quote.
And you never wager with an Italian when death is on the line.
Sicilian, isn't it?
A Sicilian, yeah. Well,
that's okay. Hey, if you're going to quote the Princess,
right.
Quote it accurately.
I got the country right.
Well, finally this week, speaking of, no, it has nothing to do with the Princess Bride. Our friends at Electric yesterday on Independence Day, they were posting a story that I thought was interesting, and I'll tell you why. But Tesla's actually patented 3 designs for the Model 3 wheels, and let's show those to you, shall we? I think we shall.
Through the magic of the internet.
The magic of the intertubes. There is one. Dun, dun, dun. That's nice. It's not, there's a photograph of it, so to speak. Here's another one, which I honestly, and again, let me just spark some controversy here. That is fugly.
I like the two-tone better than the drawing that is all one color. I even so, I do have to admit that it is not the most attractive
Yeah, that's not fetching in my world. And then finally, the one that I actually kind of like, although I have some questions about it, this one here, it sort of looks like a jet turbine or something.
Oh, that's the intention.
Yeah.
Does it make the car go faster?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. No, it is called the windmill. What was it? The wind turbine? Now I can't.
Turbine rim.
Turbine rim. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Well, I don't know, but they credit two longtime Tesla designers for these patents. And I don't know how many other car companies are patenting their wheel design. I would guess. I mean, I don't know if that's something important to do. But
I bet they patent everything.
Yeah, you have to, you have to wonder, why wouldn't they, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to go to the trouble to design something. Here's the question that I have, though, and I'm looking at all three of these designs. We're going to kind of scroll up through them again. So this goes back again, and forgive me because this is my history. I remember way back in the old days, one of the things that hypermilers used to do was take and put what was essentially, it wasn't exactly, but was essentially just a smooth cone like a pie pan and put it over the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Because this reduced aerodynamic drag on the vehicle and gave them a little bit extra.
And I think that's what you see in that black rim.
In the ugly one, yes.
Yes. Well, anyone who's
like the only efficient one. This one with the turbine, I have to wonder, does that cause more drag than?
Well, you have to look at the angles. If you look at the angles, it does appear that it has an outward, so that as the wheel is coming over the top and moving forward, it looks as though it would be pushing the air out instead of just chopping it.
Yes, but if you do drive the car backwards, it stops.
Oh, now you're fucked. Yeah.
What if you have a 70-mile-an-hour wind coming from the side?
Oh, well, your Tesla would be fine. Your Honda Insight is.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah. But if anyone who is familiar with the Honda Civic Hybrid,
I just got done driving one for a week.
Okay, both of you. The earlier model, definitely. One of the only ways to tell the hybrid from the regular car was the wheels, and Honda intentionally put these very aerodynamic wheels that were almost solid, just a little bit of air vents, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you're right, Russell. There are YouTube videos of people showing how they are mounting smooth sides to their rims in order to eke out a little more aerodynamic.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this isn't a gas car. We're not talking about using less fuel. We're talking about, at best, making it either go faster or extending the range.
Yeah, dislocating a few less electrons.
And I don't know that it makes, I mean, you know what? It may be so fiddlingly small that they don't care. And let's be realistic. People are going to spend the kind of money that they're going to spend on a Tesla. They want it to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody's like, oh, the Tesla looks like crap, but I bought one anyway. Said no one ever.
Not to our knowledge.
Yeah.
But I did want to bring up one point.
Please
and
do.
I'll just share the screen here.
Okay.
What I've noticed is that on the picture here of this particular turbine rim, and to the other two in a little bit of a less extent, you'll notice the hub looks like a single hub. I don't see any lug nuts. I don't see the regular 5-spoke pattern that you would put lug nuts into.
Interesting.
And then when I go and take a look at, say, let's go take a look at a Model S, a current Model S, and I'll just switch over to that.
What's Mark doing? Mark's going to blow my mind.
You've got the 5-spoke pattern.
Oh, right.
So where is the 5-spoke on the new one?
That's true. Even on the render. Well, now, but this begs the question to me.
Now, the rendering here shows that you could put the lug nuts here.
Now, are these actual rims, or are these like snap-on?
Yeah, that definitely. This picture here was taken, I believe, at the unveiling back a year plus ago. So that was done on stage. This one here was taken from an actual car as they were driving by. And it's dark enough that if you had black lug nuts, you wouldn't be able to see them. But I do see this center thing here again.
Yeah, that could just be the logo.
And then, of course, in this one, certainly the lug nuts could be covered up by these, I understand, are plastic pieces that can be taken in and out. So I understand that these are purposely done this way, and the lug nuts certainly could be behind the plastic shields.
Huh.
But I just found that, you know, the picture they chose here was from the unveiling, and that certainly could just be because it's a show car.
Yeah, but even if that cover comes off, that little middle piece.
Okay, but take a look at this. It is a little bit different, right? The turbine runs right to the central rim, and if we look at the drawing of it, that's close, right? It doesn't look like there's a lot of room to put lug nut holes.
Right.
Unless you have a special Tesla designed angled lug nut wrench.
Yeah. Eric in the chat says, to his understanding, center lug nuts are not very good for a street car. So
it's interesting. I just caught this just a little while ago, so I am not sure, but I did want to bring it up as a point of discussion.
Oh, and apparently he's doing some digging, because he says there are pictures of pre-release Model 3s with 5 lugged wheels.
Different wheels than these 3 designs?
I'm assuming it would have to be if these, maybe, you know, if this is the first time we're seeing it.
So if you want to learn some more, be sure to follow us on our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life, or our Facebook page, The Tesla Life and the numeral 1. And we will add some information to that as we find it on this breaking mystery that we have come across.
Well, what'll happen, I'm guessing that Russell will take a picture of his Model 3, right, at the end of the month when you're at the party, and then we'll know.
It's a blank stare. Oh, he's on the phone. Yeah. Wait. Why don't you just call Elon? Exactly. Get this solved right away.
Elon says he doesn't want to talk about it right now.
Okay. All right.
I don't blame him.
Sorry. I thought maybe he'd have something to say. He just,
nothing.
Nothing. Because I know he watches, and he called, and he just said he doesn't want to talk about it right now.
Oh, nice. All right. Eric just sent me a picture.
I would expect an announcement soon.
Hold on. Check this out. Eric sent me a picture here.
Uh-oh.
We got some investigating happening on
Love
the fly.
that. Thank you.
Got a white 3. That looks very production ready.
Oh, and there's definitely lug nuts there.
Yeah,
and that does kind of look like the same.
That's that design number 2.
Yeah, I think so.
That's not the turbine.
No.
Right, not the turbine, but definitely 5 spokes.
So it definitely that one did look like it had space for lug nuts, but the turbine drawing doesn't look like it has space. So we'll have to go searching and see if we can find a turbine in a pre-production model in a picture.
Wow. Thanks, Eric. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I do think that the center lug nut has proven to work on the FF91.
And let's not forget Indy cars.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Let's not forget that. Let's not. Let's keep that in mind. Well, that's our show for this week. I think we got a SpaceX launch, folks. We got news. We got stock reports. We have viewer contributions. So
yes, thanks, Eric, for that quick reporting work.
Nice. Yeah. Any shout outs, Tony?
I got to give a shout out to SpaceX. That was just fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark?
None. Just follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and subscribe to the show so you get a link automatically from YouTube when the show starts.
That's the huge thing. Even if you don't watch the show all the time, subscribe to us on YouTube, and you get those notifications. You can click on it and watch it later on with one easy link rather than digging around for it.
Yeah, looking for our tweets.
Yeah. Follow us or friend us on Facebook, please, and follow us on Twitter. We would love to have you as part of the family. Thanks, guys, for another fantastic show.
Thank you, Russell.
Absolutely. Yep. And as we always do, thanks all of you for watching and listening. We couldn't do it without you this week, very much so. And we wouldn't do it without you because, we'd maybe get together and talk, but, it wouldn't be as much fun. So tune in next week and find out what's going down in the Tesla life. See ya. Thanks, Lee Moon, for the jam, baby.